All right, we are up and ready to go. Hello, everyone. It is Chanel Smith here again with HBCU Walking Billboards We Ready College Gear Up series. And today we're having a really important conversation. We are talking about money and how to get the money, how to apply for financial aid, scholarship resources, all the things that'll help make your HBCU journey a little less burdensome financially. So we have some special guests here, experts in the area of financial aid. We have Miss Mary Williams representing the United Negro College Fund. We have Mika Jones and Clyde Harris of the College Coaching Network. We have Miss Sharita Wright here from HBCU Movement. And we have Kendra Coward here from the Missouri College Advising Corps. So we're going to jump right into it and talk about how to maximize our money. Hey, Miss Williams, how are you?
I am fabulous. How about yourself?
I am wonderful. I want to thank you for joining us today. Do you want to provide our audience with a brief overview of who you are and what you do?
Absolutely. I'm Mary Williams, the Director of Outreach and Recruitment for the United Negro College Fund.
We are so grateful to have you with us today. So I know you have some information that you want to share with us. If you want to go ahead and give us your screen.
Great. Can you see my screen now?
I cannot.
Okay. Let's try again. Well, as my screen is coming up, it's so good to be here with you to be able to share information from UNCF. And I want to give everyone an overview of UNCF and who we are. Can you see my screen now?
I cannot. Once you hit share screen, it'll pop up in my queue down here, and then I can add it.
Okay, so let me do it again. But as this is coming up, we are so excited because, as you know, UNCF has a host of scholarships and internships that we offer. And for students who are looking to go to HBCUs, they definitely want to be connected with us. So, okay. It doesn't.
There you go.
There we go. Now we got it. So you should see my screen now. Is that correct?
Yes, we can see it.
Excellent. Well, UNCF is second only to the federal government in providing scholarships for students of color with financial need. And I always pause after that because that's huge. We offer 400 programs, scholarships, internships, and fellowships on an annual basis. And we're able to support 10,000 students annually going to and through college. So it's about $100 million on an annual basis that we at UNCF provide in scholarships. So at UNCF, we also support 37 historically Black colleges and universities. And I have those listed on the screen. Now, while we support these institutions and provide them with additional funding, when I mentioned that we have 400 programs, whichever HBCU that you attend, whether it's one of our 37 or another HBCU, you can apply for scholarships at UNCF. I just wanted to put on the screen very quickly some information about college choice. On our UNCF website, we have research study about, it's called Student Speaks. And this lists some of the things that students were saying on why they chose HBCUs. And they have a strong desire for a sense of belonging for those who attend HBCUs, access to a small, welcoming college environment. And you can see all the comments on the slide. This research can be found on our website, uncf.org. But you want to know about money tonight. How do you get the money? UNCF has merit-based and need-based scholarships. It's 3 easy steps. You go to uncf.org/scholarships, click on apply for a scholarship, and you log in or register. We invite you to register if you're a high school senior all the way through doctoral student to register on UNCF. Once you complete your registration, we push out scholarship information to you as they become available. I mentioned that we have 400 opportunities. If you were to look at our site today, you would see about 27. But if you go on in the next few weeks, there's going to be more that's added. So in a year, we administer 400 opportunities, and it's really 3 easy steps for you to register. So who's eligible? To be eligible for opportunities at UNCF, you have to plan or be attending full-time an accredited college or university, have a minimum GPA of 2.5 on a 4.0 scale, and complete and submit the application for the scholarship that you're applying for. Now, even though I have before or by the deadline, I really rather say before the deadline. So on most of our applications, you do have to write an essay. That's a whole nother topic that I would love to spend time on later on, but it allows you to tell your story and to share your accomplishments and goals and to demonstrate why you should receive the scholarship. So I wanted to just provide you with a brief overview of UNCF and some key steps on what you should be doing if you're a current high school senior, or even if you're an undergrad individual who, when you're looking for funds for HBCUs. So you want to apply for as many scholarships as possible. Our scholarships are found on uncf.org/scholarships. Make sure you complete your FAFSA. And you know that opens October 1st. Identify 3 references, a teacher, a mentor, or coach, so that they are at your ready to support you in applying for scholarships. And access a copy of your transcript. Keep that at your ready so that if an application asks for an unofficial copy of a transcript, you can download that along with your application. And create an online folder or spreadsheet to track all of the scholarships you're going to apply for. You can use that as a tool to prioritize which ones you're going to complete first. Now, that's a very brief overview of UNCF, and I am ending the presentation where I started, just to remind you that we have 400 opportunities, and regardless of which HBCU you attend, you can use it. And actually, if you attend any accredited college or university, you can register and apply for opportunities on uncf.org. So that's a very brief overview, and this is my email address if you have further questions. So if we have time, I'd love to have a dialogue.
All right, Ms. Mary, thank you for all of that information. You provided us a wealth of knowledge. I think one follow-up question that might be beneficial is, as students are navigating their college experience, can they apply for scholarships with UNCF sophomore, junior, and senior year as well?
Of college or high school?
Of college, yes. Of college.
Oh, if you're in college, you should be applying every year. So scholarships at UNCF are available for high school seniors all the way through doctoral students. So in a student that is currently in college, I mean, there are a host of opportunities now. And for those who graduated, there's a loan forgiveness program that's on our site that's closing soon as well. You'll also find information once you register with some job opportunities that we share with them.
So that's a really big deal. You just mentioned kind of a layered approach to money. I can apply as a high schooler. I can apply ongoing as a college student. I can apply even postgraduate. So I can just keep coming back to UNCF. But then you added this whole other element of loan forgiveness. And so that is huge opportunities to kind of lift the financial burden off of our families. And we really appreciate you sharing that information.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
So now we're actually going to call up Mika Jones and Claude Harris from the College Coaching Network. And their primary focus is helping you get to the money. So we're going to bring them up to talk about their services. Hi, Mika. How are you?
Good. Hello.
Hey.
You want to provide our audience with the overview of your organization and what you do?
Mika, take it away, and then I'll do the nerdy stuff.
Okay, so we are College Coaching Network. We are a ed tech company in which we provide virtual college planning and career readiness for students. We service high schools, youth organizations, and also EAP plans, which is employee assistance programs. And then, of course, we work with individual families. College Coaching Network was founded by our CEO and founder, Claude Harris, out of the desires from his heart, from the struggles that he had with attending college and going through his mom's funds. So his goal and passion is to help students, other students like him, to fulfill their dream of going to college without breaking the bank and their parents. So a huge component of what we do is help students understand the importance of FAFSA, of scholarships, of doing college leveraging, and finding the right path that fits them. And I am the director of operations, and we are excited about the work that we do. It is very fulfilling. And the students and families that we serve, just seeing the relief that they receive is very rewarding. So, Clyde?
Yeah, and I'll piggyback on that. So when I actually got certified in college planning, I spent a lot of money to get my certificate in this. And what I was told is to work with affluent families. And I did not want to work with a lot of affluent families. I wanted to work with families that were middle class, hardworking people, that they make too much money on paper to qualify for financial aid and extra money, but they don't have enough money saved to be able to send their kids to college. Common everyday people like my mom and my dad. So I wanted to learn I wanted to learn the information and then pass the information to people that look like me, that represented what I was trying to do with my life. So I want to share just a couple of tips. Two quick ones. One is institutional scholarships, which is called merit. And then the second one is private scholarship. So I'm going to share my screen real quick with you guys. And let me go here. Screen sharing is the easiest with two. Yeah. All right. This is new. I love this platform. So we're definitely going to look at your platform moving forward. So thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. So can you see my?
Yes, I can see it in the stream, and now I have added it to. Yep.
All right. So real quick, what we wanted to do is it's called virtual college planning. And the mission of what we were trying to do is bring education and entertainment into one platform. And so what we've noticed is a lot of times when the kids go to these college fairs, they're trying to talk to the universities to find scholarships. But when you get to the college, you have to make sure that everything is in line. You have your transcripts if you need to have those. You have your resume and your recommendation letters and all those things. So in this virtual platform, we're teaching you how to best prepare yourself for institutional money. So let me walk you through real quick what I mean when I talk about institutional money. When a person goes to college, you receive an acceptance letter. And then once you get an acceptance letter, wonderful. We're clapping our hands for you. We're happy. But you don't know how much they financially love you until you get this, which is called your award letter. And so an award letter is basically showing you how much money the student is getting from the university. So if you've never seen one, here's a sample. So this student basically was receiving, it cost $56,000 a year to go to this university. And they were only receiving in scholarships $6,355. Of that, some of the money was work study, which is you do things on the campus and you don't have to pay the money back. and then the other money came from the institutional scholarship. We taught the student, I don't know if you ever heard of, Chanel, you ever heard of Walmart price matching? Is there a delay in me talking?
No,
Yeah.
I heard you. I was muted. Yeah, I said, yeah, I've definitely heard of Walmart price matching.
Okay. All right, that'll work. That'll work. So what we teach is kind of like a Walmart price match, where you can take the other award letters from other colleges and you can write an appeal letter and leverage those against the primary school. So this student wrote an appeal letter and tried to negotiate using those other letters. And this is after. So she was only getting a $6,000 scholarship. That scholarship went from $6,000 to $34,000 per year. And that was because she took the other award letters from the other university and she wrote an appeal letter asking if they would match or come close to the other offers that were on the table. So that's one of the things that we do. But a lot of times you don't know as a student, are you being awarded the total amount of money from the school that you should receive, or are you being under awarded? So we have a college organizer software, and in the college organizer software, I brought up Howard University. And you can go out here and it's going to give you all the data in one centralized place in our software. So it's showing you that Howard University is a private college because you don't see in-state and out-of-state tuition. 31% of the students that apply get in. The average GPA down there is a 3.55. But down here, this is the financial aid award package. And you can see that the national average of students that get into Howard receive $22,855 from the merit-based endowment. So if you look at your award letter and you're not getting that, then that's grounds that you can go back and use the strategy that I just talked about by using the other award letters to start a negotiation conversation with those universities. Does that make sense?
That makes a lot of sense.
And I'm going to take that as a yes because I can't hear anything.
Yes, a lot of sense. We actually had a comment from Crystal. She said she's never heard of this process and that it's actually a really great tip.
Yes, we helped one of our students. So thank you, Crystal, for making the comment. We helped one of our students that is going to Pepperdine University. She did that process and she got $13,000 a year for 4 years. I've helped countless students. Just know that the sticker price that they give you on that award letter, that is not the final price. I want to make sure I say that again. The sticker price that you get on the award letter is not the final price. You have the power to negotiate. Do not do the FAFSA and only put one university on the FAFSA form. Okay? When you do that, you're telling that university that that's your only option. Okay, I don't know if any of you guys are. I've been married for 22 years in the next couple of weeks. But when you are dating and you have a girlfriend or a boyfriend, everybody wants you. When you have a girlfriend or a boyfriend, right? When you only put down that you have one college, then you limit your ability to have a whole lot of people fighting for you. That makes sense, right? So you want to have at least 4 or 5 good colleges on your list, and then let them fight for your love. Let them fight and give you money in order to get you to college. And then the last one is we have an exclusive partnership with Sallie Mae, and Sallie Mae offers our students $18 billion, 18 with a B, $18 billion in private scholarships. So we walk you through how to write essays and how to best get prepared for finding those private scholarships. If you're left-handed, if you're a certain nationality, if you or a certain demographic, any of those things, you write scholarships for those. And one of our students, we do a scholarship challenge through our app. One of our students won $250. Every 6 to 8 weeks, we'll do a challenge to see who applies for the most scholarships. She beat out somebody that I know very well. And she wrote 44 scholarship applications in 3.5 weeks. She received $5,000 already. Now, this is my last tip. This is how you get a lot of scholarship applications out. Write 4 or 5 core essays. That's it. After you write those core essays on topics like What do you want to do when you grow up? How did you overcome adversity? What challenges or those kind of things? Just that general feel good stuff. Write those 4 or 5 core essays, and then after you write those, when you see other scholarship applications, take your existing essay and tweak it, and just use that same essay to submit to multiple applications. That's what we taught her how to do. That's how she applied for 44 scholarship applications in 3.5 weeks. It's a numbers game.
That makes so much sense.
I could give you more, but that's all I got.
Just keeping them in the chamber makes a lot of sense. And this is a cut and paste generation, so they know how to do that with ease. Like cut it, paste it, bam. We have a question on the screen from Crystal regarding like who actually writes the appeal letter. So if you want to speak to that, Claude or Mika.
Yeah, great question. We have a template that's already built into our app, and then we do study hall, and we have people that we pay to come out and they can help you with your essays and things of that sort. But it's a template you can just plug into it based upon your situation.
Yeah, and I think she also asked who does the appeal letter go to. So it does go to the financial aid office, and if it doesn't go to them at the particular university or college that your student is applying for, then the financial aid office is a great place to start because they can direct it to the right people. But again, like you want to make sure you apply for enough colleges so that they're fighting for your love, because that's where the appeal power comes from, is having the options. Even though you may know where you want to go, your heart is on getting into X school, you still want to make X school think that you could go anywhere, though. That's the big piece of it too.
Well, Mika and Clyde, you all were extremely helpful. I feel like why should have y'all's own just y'all? Because I mean, the amount of information that you have is amazing. I do have one follow-up question that I got via text, and that was, is your service at a cost? And if so, how much is it?
Great question. For the individual family, it's $97 a year. And then if you are like a school, it's based upon how many students that they have in the school. We primarily go after school districts and things of that sort, but we do work with individual families as well.
And I posted your website there in the chat for our participants. It's also there on the screen. I really want to thank you all. You've been busy today, so thank you so much for making time for us.
Yes, thank you, Chanel.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Okay, Chanel.
All right, so now we're going to bring up a local expert on HBCU money, Miss Sharita Wright. She is the founder of HBCU Movement, a local organization that provides a scholarship bank of resources for students here in the Kansas City area. Hi, Sharita.
Hello, how are you doing today?
I am well. Do you want to give the audience a brief overview of what you do and your organization?
Yes. Hello, everyone. My name is Sharita Wright, and I am the founder and president of a local organization called the HBCU Movement. And we raise awareness about scholarships that are offered at HBCUs. And so our aim is basically to increase the amount of Missouri students going to college on scholarships at HBCUs.
That is amazing. So I wish that your organization had been around when I was in school. Luckily, I did get undergrad paid for. Graduate school is another story, but I did get undergrad paid for. I think that where your organization would have been really helpful is for my peers who had partial scholarships and had those gaps and needed to fill with gap funding. I think an organization like yours would have been really beneficial. So talk us through it. What you got?
Yes, definitely. So my organization creates an annual brochure each year called the HBCU Movement Brochure, which includes an annual scholarship chart that has over 50 academic scholarships to various HBCUs. This year, we have 32 HBCUs on our brochure and about 80 scholarships listed. So we create a scholarship chart each year, and the scholarship chart was designed to sort of make a high school senior scholarship search easier. So I can show a quick example of the scholarship chart. Okay, so this is an example of what the scholarship chart looks like. But the scholarship chart lists an HBCU, a scholarship offered at that HBCU, what the scholarship covers, the GPA, and the ACT requirement, and the deadline. And so the scholarship chart sort of provides a quick snapshot, and so students can quickly identify which schools and scholarships they can potentially apply for, and then they can go and research those schools. So on the chart, we do have about 32 HBCUs, and we have about 80 scholarships listed on here. And so the scholarship data for 2020 was gathered between June 2020 through September 2020. And we gathered this data through direct phone calls and emails to the financial aid departments of all of these HBCUs. And so once we make direct contact with the school, we actually verify that the scholarship data is accurate, and then we compile it into a chart, and we send this data out to high schools across Missouri. And we also have an online link for the brochure. So I'm going to go back to the PowerPoint.
You are busy. That's a lot.
Yes.
Every year you update this every single year?
Yeah, we do this every single year. So we contact schools from June to September to verify that their data is accurate on their websites, and also to ask if they have any other scholarships to list. And so if you'd like to learn more about the HBCU movement, you can contact me at my phone number, 913-543-1459. And my email is thehbcudream@gmail.com. So we do have that brochure. It is available online through a link, and I can send that through the chat. But also, I will say that we don't have every single HBCU listed, and we also don't have every single scholarship listed for every HBCU. But we do include a little snapshot of what you could possibly apply for.
And snapshots are really good starting points. I think that scholarship application can feel extremely overwhelming. And so for you to have this consolidated opportunity for students and families to kind of get a gauge on what to expect. I actually teach AVID 11 at my school this year. And I know for me, I was taught that my junior year was really the year. That's the year you do the legwork, and senior year is apply and wait. That was what it looked like. And so if that's the case, I think that your document, your actual database, is one that juniors would really benefit from, especially in their second semester, that fourth quarter and summertime frame, because it'll give them an idea of what scholarships they need to start applying for.
Yeah, and it also gives them an idea of what ACT score they would need, but before December or February or March. So we definitely kind of target sophomores and juniors and seniors of high schools in Missouri.
Super smart. So Miss O'Bannon wants to know if she can get the link, and you said you were going to drop that in the chat for us.
Yes, I can definitely drop that in the chat.
I appreciate it. And are you going to stick around for some more questions after Kendra?
Yes.
Cool. So I will bring you back in a little bit. Thank you so much.
Sounds good. Thank you.
All right. And next we have Miss Kendra Coward. She is a college advisor with the Missouri College Advising Corps. She's going to talk to us about financial aid and the FAFSA. Hi, Kendra. How are you? We can't hear you. That's weird.
Oh, all right. We're back.
There you go. Gotcha. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I am well. So you want to give the audience a brief overview of who you are and what you do?
Sure, of course. So I'm a 2019 December Mizzou alum. I graduated studying psychology, Spanish, and Black studies. And basically, Missouri College Advising Corps is a program that they look for pretty much fresh out of college, a year post-grad at the most. But we get placed in underserved high schools in the area and just do college readiness. And so it's an AmeriCorps program. So if nobody's familiar, the AmeriCorps is just the domestic Peace Corps. and we serve for about 2 years. 3 of the max. So this is my first year, and I'm so excited to get this FAFSA presentation. This is all virtual, so I might not have all the answers, but we can totally figure this out together.
All right. Well, we're ready whenever you are.
All right. Let's do it. Can you guys see it?
Yep.
Cool. So we're just going to go over financial aid and FAFSA. So in this presentation, we're going to talk about a couple definitions, different types of financial aid, and then what actually is the FAFSA and how to complete it. So financial aid are just funds that are lent or given to students or parents to help pay for college. Federal aid is distributed nationally, regardless of cost. So that would be kind of what would be on your financial aid letter at the university. And then you also have state aid that's only available to students in Missouri. So different types of aids are grants, loans, scholarships, and then work study. So grants don't have to be paid back, and they're need-based, which is very good. That's kind of what we're looking for. Scholarships are also a form of financial assistance and normally are based on merit. So sometimes if you have a high ACT score or GPA, those also don't have to be paid back. Work study is also very good. Most times, if you're qualifying for these grants or other like school scholarships, you are also qualifying for work study. But it's basically like an on-campus job that you work and you get money to kind of use while you're in school. So that's also very nice. And then they also have loans that you do have to pay back. So you have subsidized and unsubsidized loans. So unsubsidized loans, as soon as you get it, it starts accruing interest over the next 4 years that you're in school, or 5, or however long it takes you to complete. And then you have subsidized, which do not accrue interest until you graduate. So those are just some things to keep in mind. So the different types of scholarships, they have institutional. So these would be like college specific, only available to students who attend that college. And most times you need to be accepted first. Sometimes they have it where as soon as you apply, you just automatically qualify. Sometimes you have to actually qualify for these scholarships. Or you can do a private scholarship. This is kind of the route that I went. So my mom at her job, she had a scholarship that I qualified for. So I applied for that. But most times, again, you probably need a letter of recommendation, an essay, resume, and you could kind of find these all over the internet. And there's a ton of venues, as everyone previously saw, of finding out about all of these private scholarships. So normally this would just be, I would have, and this could be like per school. Most schools, if they have an advisor, they have like a Google Classroom or something of that nature, and they have like a scholarship list for students to apply for, depending on what they qualify for and things like that. So that the different types of grants that will be offered for financial aid are federal. So Pell grants, most times you have to be Pell eligible. I wasn't Pell eligible, so I'm not really sure about the requirements, but if you are Pell eligible. And then you can also get different types of supplemental educational grants. For state, you can get the Access Missouri grants or like the A+. And again, most times these are like known in high school. And so as you're applying for these schools in Missouri, they will acknowledge all of that. Like I said, the two different types of loans: subsidized, the government pays the interest while you're in school. That's what we like. Unsubsidized, you're paying interest on the 4 years. So you can kind of just see which best works for you as you guys are looking at these financial aid letters. So how do you get all of these different types of aid? You have to do the FAFSA. So all of these, let me go back. So grants, loans, and work study, most times all need the FAFSA. The scholarships will be the only one that won't, and that could just depend on if you got a private scholarship or if you got an institutional merit-based one. So basically the FAFSA already opened. So if any of your kids go to Southeast, for example, or any other schools that have college advisors in them, most times this is where we're pushing now for students to fill out the FAFSA. The priority deadline is February 1st, and then the absolute end deadline would be June 31st for all your FAFSA to be in. So basically, the free application for federal student aid, that's what FAFSA stands for. They just they take kind of the student's demographic information. They take mom and dad's tax information, the student's tax information, and then they determine the estimated family contribution. And they use this number to kind of decide how much aid that the student will get. And so that's the website at the bottom. It's fafsa.ed.gov.com if anybody's looking for it. So I want to spend like just 2 more seconds on this slide just to see like how you fill out, because sometimes the student might not live with mom or dad, or might live with mom but just move with dad. So it's just kind of like whose taxes would be included on the student's FAFSA. So if your parents are married, then you would report them on the FAFSA. If they live together, or just kind of depending on which one that you spent the most time with in the past 12 months, that's who you would be reporting on. And basically if the student has ever been claimed on anybody's taxes, no matter if they're either moved out of the house or if they financially support themselves, if they're still being claimed on somebody's taxes, then they still have to file with somebody else's taxes. And most times the tax part is the hardest part of FAFSA. Like once you get all the student information in, mom and dad's tax information is about the hardest part. And then after that, it's smooth sailing from there. But sometimes these can get a bit tricky. So definitely do not hesitate to reach out to either your counselors at your school, or if your school has a college and career advisor, reach out to them so they can help you with that. A couple questions. So sometimes students have problems finding their parents' financial information, or sometimes like things change. Like I know for me, my dad was off of work for like a year, but with FAFSA, they look a year back. So all FAFSA will be looking at the 2019 taxes. So even though you might not have worked in 2020 and your income is different, they're still going to look back to when you're making money. And then if you don't have a social security number, unfortunately, if you don't have a social security number, you cannot apply for FAFSA. So that's kind of challenging with our undocumented students and things like that. But there's totally ways to still find money and scholarships for college. So to complete the FAFSA, you need the students and the parents' social security number, the students and the parents' tax information. Sometimes the students don't make enough money to really have it be that impactful on the FAFSA, but if you have it, that's already good. Or you need the list of the W-2s for the student and the parent, and then a list of schools, because like the previous presentation was saying, you definitely want to apply, I would say, to at least 5. I think 5 is a great number of schools to apply to. And basically after you fill out the FAFSA, all the information gets sent to the school. So you won't necessarily know what the FAFSA will cover until you apply. And then that's when you can kind of compare aid packages and things like that. So I think I went through that very fast, and I'm sure everybody has questions. But this is my contact info, kendra.cowar@KC Public Schools. And then that is my business phone number if anybody is interested. I think you're muted, Chanel.
There we go.
Okay.
Hey, Sharita, welcome back.
Hello.
All right, we're gonna field a few questions to you guys. First of all, Kendra, thank you. That FAFSA overview was necessary. I think you hit on a couple of key things. One of them that is often a question in my school is, if I am 18 and I don't reside with my parents, do I have to include their information on my FAFSA application?
So that can get pretty tricky. Most times they say, like I said, if mom or dad is still claiming them on their taxes, and I don't think they even get to claim themselves as adults until they're like 24 or something like that. Most times it would be yes.
Okay, I think this next question, either of you might be able to answer. It is specifically about work study.
Okay.
The student wants to know, if I get a work study job, how many hours will I be required to work per week? I think that's a really good question.
It is. Do you know offhand, Sharita? If I just had to just put a number, I want to say it's at least 20 hours.
Yeah, I would say 20, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Just because most times, even if you work an on-campus job, they're very strict sometimes about the number of hours, and I think 20 hours a week is the max.
Yeah, it definitely probably depends on the school too. They'll set guidelines for your work study that you'll have to follow.
Right.
And I just want to provide a little bit of insight to work study. You guys are right, 20 hours, boom, bam, you guys are good. I want to provide a little insight to work study. So most times the campus places that offer work study are very considerate of your course schedule.
Absolutely.
I would say that it's a great opportunity if you qualify for work study. It's a great opportunity to figure out how to balance school and work, because their max is 20 hours per week. You don't get overtime for work study. So you work your 20 and you roll out. And it helps you kind of get that balance. It depending on the level of need you have. So for me, I qualified for work study, but I had enough scholarships and grants that my work study check was mine. And so it gave me an opportunity to have a little extra money in my pocket as well. And then the final thing I'll say about work study is if you are, regardless, honestly, I worked in the registrar's office. That's like a hot spot to be. So I got to meet a lot of alumni, a lot of like, everybody comes through the registrar's office. They look for scholarships, they looking for her, like whatever it is. But if you work in the CAF, if you work in the business office, like those work study jobs are a great way to connect with the staff on your campus. And sometimes when you find yourself in a bind, be it fiscally, or maybe you're having a hard time, you're homesick, or you're having a hard time getting home, these are the kind of connections that really matter. And so work study is not just fiscally beneficial, but it can also be beneficial to connecting you with people on your campus.
Or even, I know a lot of freshmen, most times, even if they go in-state, they don't have a car. I definitely would be looking for an on-campus job doing something, just because, again, those connections are there. You're not only interacting with professors and staff, but other like alumni, and you never know the possible connections that can happen. So
we got another question. That is, what's the earliest I can start applying for scholarships? Another good one.
You can start applying as early as you want. You know, they have scholarships that you can apply for freshman year and sophomore year. And, you know, you can receive them your senior year of high school when you go off to college. Like I know, for example, Kansas City Kauffman Foundation offers a couple of scholarships that freshmen and sophomores can apply for, and it'll pay for their college education. So you can definitely start applying as early as possible.
So when you say as early as possible, like if I'm a freshman in high school, I can start applying for scholarships?
Yeah, there are companies that offer scholarships for freshmen, sophomores, juniors, seniors.
So that is really critical.
And find them.
That's critical. I mean,
yeah, because I worked at East High School last year, and the Kansas City Kauffman Foundation, or KC Scholars Company, they actually offer scholarships for freshmen. They can fill out a freshman and sophomore scholarship and junior year scholarship.
Yeah, so speaking of KC Scholars, they there are only like 2 grade levels though, right? Like they do a junior entry, I want to say, and a freshman entry. Is that accurate?
Yeah, I think it's just freshman and junior. Yeah, it's either 2 or 3 offers.
Yeah.
Well, I'm definitely going to put that in the chat for the family so that they can go ahead and get started looking at KC Scholars now. I think their app opens up in February, and they make those decisions around like late April. So I put that in the chat for anybody who needed it. We have another question here, and this is a good one, especially for first-generation college students that just might not understand how financial packaging works. So the question is, if I get a scholarship, do colleges reduce my financial aid package? And if so, does the scholarship replace my loans or my grants?
I can only answer for my situation. So I received a scholarship to college and outside scholarships. So my financial aid package was reduced because the scholarships covered my college costs. So I didn't need to get like loans or grants. So my financial aid package was reduced because of like I had scholarships coming from outside companies as well.
I went to college a long time ago, so I don't really know how the game works.
I don't
anymore. Yeah, it was a long time ago. I do know that I got a full scholarship to FISC. I got to keep my grant, and I got to keep my work study. So that led to a refund check and then a weekly, hourly wage job. So I think that if anything, scholarships will replace loans. But I don't believe that they take away your Pell because you're Pell eligible. They don't take away your work study. They just give you the opportunity to acquire more funds.
Or sometimes the institutional scholarships would be like mutually exclusive. So like, let's say if you get two like pretty good scholarships, they'll take the one that's more. So even though you might qualify for both or have gotten both, they'll take the one that would support you more. But I also don't know because I didn't get any of that. So.
And that's what I really liked about Claude and Mika's organization, because I think that there's a whole lot of help for the low income student. That was me. And there were lots of resources out there for me. But then and then the upper echelon, the higher crust, they don't necessarily need much. I totally agree. But then in that middle class range, Kendra, we talked about this before I had you on. This was my wonder, because even in that like tax bracket, there are first generation college students. Like people come out of high school and they get those, what we call in our community, good jobs. So they go work for the post office, they work for Ford, they get the UPS, FedEx, these nice hourly wage jobs that they can promote fast, they'll increase their wages quickly, and they pay really well. And so if you have two parents that are in those types of industries and they're making really good money, I think there's a lapse still that like, just because I'm making a little money doesn't mean that I got thousands to spend.
I know.
School. Right.
Yes.
So
or just this
coaching network.
I love that too. I really wish I had access to that, because that was definitely my issue. And and maybe I'm just making a blanket judgment, but sometimes we think that just because we're Black, we'll get a lot of financial aid, or at least that's what I thought. And I just got loans, and I was like, well, my parents could technically afford to send me to college. However, I know, and then a lot of scholarships I didn't apply for, just not having the resources, because they're really all over the place. And just having like one thing, I mean, I would have totally paid for whatever. It could have been $350. I would have paid for it, because
that's what I'm sitting here thinking, like,
what do you mean I could match financial aid packages? I would have been like,
it's an affordable price too.
Oh my gosh, I didn't know that was a thing until I talked to them. I was like, wait, what? He was like, yeah, like you can appeal. I was like, that's bananas. I didn't know that was possible.
Crazy.
Miss O'Bannon chimed in and she said that she thinks nowadays common practice is that most scholarships are written directly to the college. That's where all my scholarships went. I didn't get any of them in my hand. They all went to the school, and the school would afford me a refund check, an overage on my account. She also said that she believes that in some cases, scholarship funds are deducted from what the school will give you. And I think that makes sense. Like schools have to be kind of selective with their funds. So if you got more money than you need and somebody else is over here struggling, I think it would make sense to do that. One of the questions we had to follow up was, when will I receive my financial aid letter?
I want to say it's when you apply to the school, because the school gets it. I don't know if there is like a window, but like you won't personally get something in the mail. When you apply to Mizzou will say, okay, per your FAFSA, this is what we got for you. And then you can look at it and appeal it, apparently.
Okay.
If you don't like it.
That appeal is a hot topic tonight. Let me tell you something.
Okay.
Everybody learn something.
Learn. Dang.
When you talk about the receipt of the financial letter, you're 100% right. And just to be fair, because I know I probably got some audience members like, do Kendra know? Kendra is new to her position. She's at Southeast High School, turn up. But she's doing an amazing job, I feel like, with just giving us really solid overview information. And you're right. See, look at you, still being right. You are right. When students apply to colleges, it's the college that provides the financial aid letter, not FAFSA itself. So they'll get your award letter. So the colleges will say, here's what we got, and go from there. Sharita, I want to hear from you in terms of like thinking about kids applying to school and this work that you put in to make sure that kids who go to HBCUs can access money. What prompted you to do that? Like, why did you do that?
Okay, yeah, definitely. So I grew up in Kansas City Public School District. I attended Central High School, and I actually almost went to school on student loans, and that was because I didn't know about HBCUs. I actually didn't learn about HBCUs until my last year of high school. And the YMCA actually taught me about HBCUs. And so I almost accepted a student loans to Mizzou and UCM and KU, and didn't know that I qualified for 8 full rides at 8 different HBCUs. And so I started the organization, the HBCU movement. I decided it would be a good way to sort of help students, avoid going into debt when they didn't need to go into debt. And so we sort of promote at high schools across Missouri, and each year we try and figure out which scholarship schools offer that I can add to the list, and we try and go from there. Also, I will say that a lot of HBCUs offer a lot of money for students that don't necessarily have a 4.0 and a 36 on the ACT. So you don't need a high ACT score or a super high GPA to get a lot of money. In scholarship funds, and a lot of students aren't aware of that. So I wanted to sort of raise awareness about that as well.
Okay.
So what prompted me to sort of start the scholarship chart and start the brochure and start the organization.
I think that what you do is phenomenal. I am so happy that by happenstance our paths crossed, and they crossed prior to this particular event because we were ready to get you in there. And really, I think it's important to note that you work specifically to do this work for free. So you're not charging anybody anything. Then you're gonna send everybody you gave me the PDF, you're gonna send everybody the link. It's just you helping other students who are following in your footsteps. And I think that's the thing, right? You're supposed to reach back. Kendra, request in the chat for your information again. So I want your email and your phone number again, ma'am, if you don't mind.
Okay. Sounds good.
Another question that we got in was, do extracurriculars make a difference when applying for scholarships? Either one of you want to take that one?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
There are actually scholarships geared towards extracurriculars. So it just depends. But yes, they can definitely make a difference because there are definitely scholarships geared towards band, especially HBCUs are really big on that type of stuff.
Yes.
Choir, so you can get a full ride, for knowing how to sing. Football, all types of sports, tennis even.
Right. I was going to say the sports that are not very talked about, like golf, especially Black men playing golf. There are a lot of scholarships for that. Lacrosse, a lot of lacrosse scholarships. So definitely, I know we love our basketball and football, but literally there are complete programs where you can get a full ride to play golf somewhere or lacrosse or tennis.
Yeah.
So.
And that's a great segue to highlight what we'll be talking about next week. So next week, we will actually be talking about extracurricular activities and sports and how they can impact us heading off to our HBCU journey. We will have the assistant of media relations for the NCAA Eligibility Center joining us. And so he will talk with us about what students need to be made aware of, what sacrifices they'll have to make, and then how they can be best prepared to compete off the field or court and actually in the classroom. So we're gonna have some really good information about that next week. I want to just thank you both for joining us. Your youthful energy was just amazing. Y'all so cute with your witty self. And I appreciate you just being bold. I feel like what each of you are doing to service students that you're not very far removed from in age is bold, because sometimes people think I'm too young, I'm not ready, and they don't get out and serve. But the two of you are your blessings. And I'm hoping that the students in Kansas City benefit tremendously from the work that each of you are doing. So thank you both. Have a good evening.
All right.
Thank you for having me.
And that does it for We Ready Week 3. Join us next week for Week 4, where we will discuss NCAA eligibility and extracurriculars and how they can help us on our college journey. Have a good night.